Nobody really talks about them that much. The mac and cheese gets all the love, and oftentimes they're not that good even when you eat them out at restaurants and things like that. Today though, if you follow this recipe, you're gonna change the game. Everyone's gonna be asking you to make them for the holiday season. Meet me in the kitchen, let's make it happen.
Wish I had some cornbread. So I bought this potluck. That's damn good.
All right guys, so if you've never made collard greens, I'm gonna let you know a few of the techniques or tips that's gonna make sure that you execute this properly for Thanksgiving. First and foremost, you wanna start with good quality collard greens. That means bright, vibrant green in color. Try to avoid anything that's like yellow or wilted. It's gonna taste a lot better if it's fresh. Next, once you find some bright green collard greens that are nice and fresh, the next step is to go ahead and clean them up. That means remove all of the dirt and grit, nasty stuff that you don't want to eat, get them squeaky clean, and then we're going to prepare them in a way that's going to remove all of the stems and things that don't get tender. We also want to chop them into bite-sized pieces. That's important because they're all going to cook at the same rate and get tender. That way each forkful of collard greens is going to be enjoyable to eat because it's all tender. You don't have bites that are not tender or under or overcooked. Everything's going to be uniform in size. All right guys, so once you have the quality collard greens, they're cleaned and prepped, the next most important thing is the braising liquid. You want to make sure it's extra flavorful. And the way we're going to do that is with smoked turkey meat. You can use pork meat if you want to. Today we're using drum or turkey leg and turkey neck. I like this combination because you get extra meat from the turkey leg. And in my opinion, the turkey neck provides the most flavorful meat for the collard greens. You get the best of both worlds. You get volume and flavor. We're going to add those in there first, followed by 2 onions and 1 head of garlic. This is a 6.5 liter pot, so make sure you have something that's going to be big enough to cook the collard greens that you are preparing for Thanksgiving. If you're making, for a larger family, you're going to a large pot. If it's just you and a few other people, you can have a smaller pot. We're going to fill this up with water, bring this to a boil, and let it simmer until the meat falls off the bone. So the goal here, people, is to make sure you get this liquid as flavorful as humanly possible. So we're gonna go ahead and bring this up to a boil. I'm gonna add in a little chicken bouillon powder, a little bit of my AP seasoning, just to get the party started with some kind of seasoning, some kind of flavor. A lot of this liquid is gonna evaporate, so we don't wanna flavor it up too much because we're gonna lose a lot of that. Once it gets concentrated, we'll shred the meat and then really season this up before we add the collard greens. All right guys, now it's time to get down and dirty. Cooking, in my opinion, is a labor of love. So you can take shortcuts and speed up the process, but you're not gonna get the same results. You can buy the pre-bagged stuff that's already chopped up with all the stems in there and just unequal pieces of collard greens. That's not gonna give you the same result as if you were to make it yourself. So I got my little trash bowl here. I'm gonna get the leaves off the stems. The stems, in my opinion, don't get quite as tender, and they're a little bit more bitter than the leaves. So if you want the best results, I'll recommend following this method here, where you just kind of take the leaf over the stem. You can use your hands and just peel it right off. And then we'll put them in a pile, roll them up, and chop them into bite-sized pieces. After that, we'll go ahead and clean them up. Real simple, a little bit more labor intensive than just chopping them all up, but I promise you they will result in a better pot of collard greens this way. All right guys, so we've reached the point where the meat is nice and tender, just about falling off the bone. We're to go ahead and remove it for a number of reasons. Most importantly, the drumstick has pin bones that you don't want anybody to choke on. So we're gonna go ahead and remove all of that out of our broth, shred the meat, add the meat back in, and then taste for seasoning. You wanna make sure that this is as flavorful as humanly possible before you add those greens in there so the greens can start absorbing that flavor. And then you just simply simmer them until the greens are tender and you season the taste. Simple as that. This down here, my friends, is liquid gold. You want to taste it and adjust it as needed. Get that meat back in there. You got yourself the best collard greens you ever had. All All right, folks, so we're approaching the home stretch. Our greens are getting nice and tender. The meat's off the bone. The liquid is reduced enough. Everything's tasting really good. Now's the time to add your finishing touches. I'm gonna add just a teaspoon of this roasted garlic better than bouillon. I'm gonna add a teaspoon or two of apple cider vinegar. That's one of those things that you can adjust to your personal preferences. You know, some people like a little bit more vinegar in their greens. I don't think that it needs much, so we're gonna add just about a teaspoon or so. I'm gonna add a pinch of sugar as well, some red pepper flakes, and my AP seasoning, and we're done. If your greens are not, you know, bitter at all, you don't have to add the sugar. Just something that I've kind of gotten in the habit of doing. And again, it's just a light pinch, not to make them sweet, but just to kind of balance everything together. Little red pepper flakes, little hot sauce, and we're done. All right, my friends, quick little shameless plug. This recipe and over 100 others can be found in my brand new solo cookbook, Meet Me in the Kitchen. Packed with good recipes, everything from breakfast down to holiday meals. Got everything that you could ever need to make you a better chef in the kitchen. Now, without further ado, it's time for my favorite part of the job. We went ahead and plated this up. Brace yourself for a trademark money shot. Say it with me, guys. Looking good. The only thing left to do is dig in for the taste test. But before we do that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications as well. All right, folks, I found my fork. I'm getting the proper ratio of green to this turkey meat. Give her a little dunk in the juice. Underrated right here. Collard greens, to me, are kind of like the red-headed stepchild of the holiday season. It's going to taste a lot better if it's fresh. Next, once you find the right I can't say vibrant to save my life. Next, to make you a better chef in the kitchen. Today, we're going to go ahead and get in. I'm about to kick the video off today. All right, people, the time is now. My new cookbook, Meet Me in the Kitchen, is officially available for purchase. And for a limited time, if you buy right now, you're going to get a signed copy. So head over to mrmakeithappen.shop. Get your brand new cookbook with over 100 recipes for all skill levels with no flavor left behind. I appreciate all the support. I'm going to be actively signing these books until my hand falls off. We got over 100 plus recipes in here, and we'll be shipping daily. Thank you. Head to mrmakeithappen.shop for your signed copy.